Did you know that nearly 48 million Americans fall sick each year due to foodborne illnesses, and over 3,000 of them die? What's even more heartbreaking is that a large number of these victims are seniors. According to the CDC, older adults face a much higher risk because their immune systems just aren't as strong as they used to be. But here's the chilling part. Many of these illnesses don't come from sketchy restaurants or expired takeout. They actually begin inside your own refrigerator. Yes, the very place you rely on to keep food fresh and safe could be quietly turning everyday ingredients into dangerous health traps. Shocking, right? Recent studies have shown that improperly storing certain foods in the fridge can increase your chances of food poisoning, lead to nutrient loss, and in some cases, even trigger harmful chemical changes in the food. The scary part? Most people have absolutely no idea they're doing anything wrong. If you've ever tossed fruits, veggies, or pantry staples into the fridge without a second thought, you might unknowingly be putting your health at risk. And the worst offender on this list is something millions of people store incorrectly every single day. It doesn't just lose nutrients, it can actually form toxic compounds when chilled. So whatever you do, stay with us until the very end, because what you're about to learn could seriously protect your health or even save your life. Before we dive in, drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more health-saving tips just like this. Now, let's kick things off with a classic kitchen favorite. Food number 9, potatoes. Almost everyone stores potatoes in the fridge without thinking twice. It seems like the smart move, right? But here's the shocking truth. Putting raw potatoes in the fridge can actually make them dangerous. What happens inside is a bit of food science gone wrong. The cold temperature causes the starches in the potato to rapidly turn into sugars. Sounds harmless? Think again. When those sugary potatoes are later cooked, especially roasted or baked at high heat, those sugars combine with amino acids and create a compound called acrylamide, which has been linked to cancer in animal studies and is currently being studied for its impact on human health. And the damage doesn't stop there. Refrigerated potatoes often turn grainy, mushy, or oddly sweet. The change in texture comes from oxidation and nutrient breakdown. So instead of the warm, fluffy potatoes we all know and love, you're left with something that's not only unappetizing, but also potentially toxic. Ever noticed your roasted potatoes turning weirdly sweet or having a strange texture? Yep, that's your fridge's doing. The best way to store potatoes is in a cool, dark, dry place, like a pantry. Keep them away from moisture and cold so they stay firm, tasty, and safe to eat. So if you've got a bag of spuds sitting in your refrigerator right now, go rescue them before they turn from comfort food into a quiet health hazard. Next up, number 8, bread. Let's talk about something almost everyone has in their kitchen: bread. Soft, fluffy, comforting. It's a daily essential, especially for seniors who love a simple toast or sandwich. But here's the twist you probably didn't see coming. Putting bread in the fridge is actually one of the worst things you can do. Sounds backward, right? You'd think the cold would keep it fresher longer, but in reality, it's doing the exact opposite. The reason lies in a process called retrogradation, a fancy term that basically means the starches in bread begin to crystallize when they're exposed to cold temperatures. And this doesn't take days or weeks. It starts almost immediately after you put that loaf in the fridge. What does that mean for you? Your soft, pillowy bread goes stale way faster than if you had just left it at room temperature. Even if you don't see a big change right away, You'll definitely taste it. Bread from the fridge turns dry, tough, and crumbly. Toast becomes a chore to chew, and sandwiches lose their soft, satisfying bite. But here's where things go from bad to worse. Once bread loses its natural moisture in the fridge, it creates the perfect setup for mold, especially when you take it out and expose it to warmer air again. That back and forth temperature dance leads to uneven dampness, which mold loves. And moldy bread isn't just unpleasant, it can be dangerous. Some molds produce mycotoxins, toxic substances that can seriously harm your health, particularly for seniors with weakened immune systems. So what's the better option? Freezing. Yep, the freezer actually halts mold growth and prevents staling without wrecking the texture. Just slice the loaf beforehand and defrost what you need. Want to keep it fresh at room temperature? Store it in a sealed container or bread box for up to a few days. But the fridge? That's a fast track to stale, crumbly slices and possibly toxic mold. Don't let cold temps ruin your daily bread or your health. Now let's move to food number 7, onions. It might surprise you to see onions on this list. After all, they seem harmless enough, right? But refrigerating onions is a sneaky mistake that can lead to all sorts of unexpected problems. Onions naturally come with a protective, papery skin that keeps moisture out and helps them stay fresh and firm. But when you throw them in the fridge, that protective balance is ruined. The cold, damp environment inside your refrigerator causes onions to soak up moisture like a sponge, especially if they've been cut. That leads to a mushy texture, a strange, bitter taste, and often mold. But that's not the only problem. Onions are full of powerful sulfur compounds, and when refrigerated, they start breaking down faster, releasing odors that easily leak into other foods nearby. Ever wondered why your butter, fruit, or even milk smells or tastes like onions? Yep, that's your fridge, absorbing all those pungent sulfur notes and sharing them with everything else. There's also the bacterial danger. A sliced onion, even when wrapped or covered, can quickly become a playground for bacteria in the fridge. While there's a myth that onions absorb toxins from the air that's been debunked, it's still true that improperly stored onions can develop harmful microbes when exposed to moisture and air. So what should you do? Whole onions should be stored in a dry, dark, and well-ventilated spot. Think a pantry or a mesh basket. As for cut onions, it's okay to refrigerate them, but only if they're sealed super tightly and used within a day or two. Letting whole onions chill in your fridge is just a recipe for spoilage, strange flavors, lost nutrients, and a fridge that smells like an onion farm. Coming up next, food number 6, tomatoes. And trust me, this one will make you rethink how you handle your favorite fruit. Tomatoes. They're juicy, vibrant, and one of the most misunderstood foods when it comes to refrigeration. A lot of people think putting tomatoes in the fridge keeps them fresher for longer. But here's the real shocker. Cold temperatures don't preserve tomatoes. They ruin them, both in taste and in texture. You see, tomatoes are actually tropical fruits, and like most tropical produce, they absolutely hate the cold. When you place a tomato in the refrigerator, the chilly air disrupts its natural enzymes and stops the ripening process in its tracks. And that's a big deal because ripening is where all the magic happens. It's when tomatoes develop their rich, deep flavor. Without that final stage, what you're left with is a bland, watery, and disappointingly dull tomato. And the damage doesn't stop at flavor. The cold messes up the texture too. Instead of being juicy and firm, refrigerated tomatoes turn soft, mealy, and rubbery. You lose that satisfying fresh bite, and in return, get something that feels like a tomato impersonator. If you've ever sliced into a tomato and it felt like a sponge or looked pale and mushy, chances are it's been in the fridge too long. But wait, there's more. Vitamin C, one of the key nutrients in tomatoes, breaks down much faster in cold storage. That means you're not just sacrificing taste, you're actually losing the health benefits too. Even the skin starts to wrinkle and shrivel, making the tomato look old and tired, even if it's technically still fresh. So what's the right move? Keep tomatoes at room temperature, away from direct sunlight, and if possible, place them stem side down to retain moisture. Got some tomatoes that are getting too ripe? Use them right away in sauces or soups. But don't toss them in the fridge thinking you're doing them a favor. You're actually speeding up their downfall and robbing them of everything that makes a tomato worth eating. Now let's turn to food number 5. Garlic, another kitchen staple that you might be storing all wrong. Garlic has a reputation as a powerful superfood. It's packed with sulfur compounds like allicin, which helps boost your immune system, lower blood pressure, and even fight inflammation. But here's something most people don't know. Putting garlic in the fridge can strip away all those benefits and even turn it into a danger. Whole garlic bulbs are naturally built to last for weeks, sometimes even months, if kept in a dry, cool, and well-ventilated place. But when you refrigerate garlic, that cold, moist environment disrupts its protective layers. The cloves start to sprout prematurely, which not only changes their texture and flavor, but also signals a breakdown of the very compounds that make garlic so healthy. That bold, sharp taste, it turns bitter and rubbery, and worse, loses its medicinal punch. But here's where it gets seriously risky. If you've ever chopped garlic and stored it in oil to save time, listen closely. Garlic stored in oil, especially in the fridge, without proper acidity, both of which help prevent bacterial growth. But above all, keep garlic out of the fridge. Don't let it lose its flavor, its power, or become a hidden hazard in your kitchen. Up next, food number 4. And trust me, this one might just surprise you the most. Food number 4, coffee. Yep, your beloved morning brew might be hiding a dirty little secret in the fridge. Most people think popping coffee beans or grounds into the refrigerator will help them stay fresh longer. But in reality, you're actually killing the flavor and possibly harming your health. Here's why. Coffee is hygroscopic, a fancy word that means it absorbs moisture, smells, and even flavors from the air around it. And what's your fridge full of? Humid air, leftovers, fruits, onions, all kinds of strong smells. So every time you open that fridge door, your coffee is basically soaking in the scent of everything inside. That smooth, bold roast you love, now it smells like last night's lasagna or soggy strawberries. But the real danger isn't just about taste, it's about moisture. Every time the fridge door opens and closes, condensation forms on the coffee beans or grounds. That moisture leads to clumping, loss of flavor, and worst of all, the breakdown of the oils in coffee that carry its aroma and health benefits. One of those compounds, chlorogenic acid, is an antioxidant that supports heart and brain health, but it starts to degrade rapidly in damp, cold environments. Worse still, damp coffee grounds, especially if they're not sealed tightly, can develop mold, and nobody wants to start their day with a moldy cup of coffee, especially seniors whose immune systems might not handle it well. The fix? Simple. Store your coffee in an opaque, airtight container in a cool, dark cabinet, not the fridge. This way you keep it dry, aromatic, and full of those rich flavors and health-boosting properties that make coffee more than just a morning ritual. Now let's move on to something that might really surprise you. Food number 3, honey. It's golden, sticky, and sweet, nature's original sweetener, and one of the only foods in the world that never spoils on its own. Sounds like it could go anywhere, right? Wrong. Putting honey in the fridge is a major mistake, and here's why. When honey is chilled, it crystallizes rapidly. That smooth, pourable texture turns into a gritty, solid lump that's hard to scoop and nearly impossible to spread. But it's not just about texture. When honey crystallizes, it traps tiny air pockets, and every time you open and close the container, it introduces moisture, which is honey's biggest enemy. Moisture in honey can lead to fermentation, which creates a sour taste and smell. Even worse, it opens the door to microbial growth, something honey is usually strong enough to resist because of its low water content and natural acidity. But in the wrong conditions, like inside a cold, damp fridge, its natural defenses weaken. And here's the kicker. The cold also slows down the enzymes in honey that give it antibacterial and healing properties. So yes, refrigerating honey doesn't just make it less pleasant to use. It actually makes it less healthy. The best way to store honey, keep it in a tightly sealed jar at room temperature, away from heat and direct sunlight. Your pantry or a kitchen cabinet is perfect. This way, it stays smooth, sweet, and powerful, just the way nature intended. Next up is food number 2. And believe it or not, this common fruit gets completely ruined by the cold. Food number 2, bananas. Bananas are a favorite for so many reasons. They're soft, sweet, easy to digest, and packed with potassium, making them a go-to snack for seniors. But here's the shocker. Putting bananas in the fridge can completely ruin them. Most people think they're preserving the fruit, but the opposite is true. Bananas are tropical by nature, and their enzymes are designed to thrive in warm temperatures. When you chill them, especially before they're ripe, you literally stop the ripening process in its tracks. The result? Hard, flavorless bananas that stay bland and never reach their full sweetness. And that's just the start. Cold temperatures cause the peel to turn an unappetizing gray, or black, a clear sign of cold damage. Beneath that dark skin, the texture changes too, becoming patchy, mushy, and strangely metallic in taste. Not exactly what you expect from a banana, right? But it gets worse. Refrigeration also destroys key antioxidants like dopamine and catechins, both of which help fight oxidative stress and support brain health, especially important for older adults. You can't see it happening, but the health benefits are quietly slipping away. And if you're thinking, well, I'll just refrigerate overripe bananas, think again. The moisture inside the peel creates the perfect environment for mold growth, especially near the stem. So instead of slowing spoilage, the fridge actually increases your risk of moldy fruit. The best move? Keep bananas at room temperature, hanging on a hook or in a fruit bowl where air can circulate. Got too many ripe ones? Peel and freeze them for smoothies or baking later. Just remember, the fridge is where bananas go to lose their flavor, texture, and health perks. Food. Number 1. Olive oil. Now let's talk about the most dangerous food to refrigerate. Olive oil. This might surprise you, especially since olive oil is considered a kitchen essential and a heart health hero for seniors. But storing it in the fridge? That's a big no. When you refrigerate olive oil, it solidifies and becomes cloudy, a process caused by the crystallization of its healthy fats. While this looks harmless, it's actually hiding a deeper issue. Each time you take refrigerated olive oil out and let it warm up, its chemical structure changes. These repeated shifts between cold and warm cause the oil to oxidize faster, breaking down its powerful antioxidants and generating harmful free radicals. That means instead of protecting your heart, brain, and joints, this now oxidized oil could actually promote inflammation. the very thing seniors should avoid. Some studies even link this kind of damaged oil to increased joint pain and digestive issues, both of which are common concerns in older adults. And the issues don't stop there. Solidified olive oil is hard to pour, increasing the chance of spills or using too much, leading to unnecessary calories. On top of that, the taste suffers too. The vibrant, peppery, fruity notes that define good olive oil, they're dulled or completely lost when the oil's been refrigerated. So not only does it lose its health value, it stops tasting like the Mediterranean magic it's supposed to be. The solution is simple. Store your olive oil in a dark glass or stainless steel container in a cool, dry cabinet away from heat and sunlight. Properly stored, it can retain its flavor and health benefits for up to 2 years. So there you have it, the top 9 foods you should never refrigerate, and why keeping them cold might be silently working against your health. Want to boost your food's flavor, nutrition, and shelf life? Start by reorganizing your kitchen today. Keep tropical fruits like bananas and avocados at room temperature until ripe. Store potatoes and onions in dark, dry spots. Keep bread at room temperature or freeze it, but never refrigerate it. Your honey belongs in the pantry, your coffee in an airtight, dark container. And those powerful ingredients, like garlic and tomatoes, deserve thoughtful, fridge-free storage too. Now we want to hear from you. Have you been refrigerating any of these without realizing the risks? What changes are you planning to make starting today? Share your stories, thoughts, and tips in the comments below. We'd love to learn from your experience. Thanks for watching, and here's to keeping your kitchen and your health smarter and safer.